You know who's not happy for the couple, it seems? Blake Lively. Blake's done. Done, done, done. Done, done, done.
Everyone assumed Blake Lively and Taylor Swift were inseparable, from red carpet appearances to Instagram posts and even family gatherings, portraying Hollywood's ultimate best friend duo. But when Taylor announced her engagement, Blake's name was conspicuously absent. Why was she missing from one of the biggest milestones in her supposed best friend's life? Was it merely an oversight, or is there something more going on behind the scenes? Tonight, we follow the digital breadcrumbs that might uncover the real reason Blake was left out of Taylor's engagement celebration.
Happy for the couple, it seems? Blake Lively. Let's get into the latest scoops on what's happening regarding Blake. The biggest sign, Taylor's friendship is over. I mean, this is obvious. I don't know why it's taken Taylor Swift fans to get to this so long, that Taylor clearly is not friends with Blake anymore. And that should say everything. To anybody who's still defending Blake Lively out there, how can you justify all these snubs? Explain it to me. Because Taylor should be defending Blake. And that's what Blake thinks too. But Taylor's not. She's doing everything but supporting Blake. And now she's snubbed.
Everyone thought the friendship between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively was unshakable, the kind of bond Hollywood rarely sees. On the surface, they were the epitome of best friends, from red carpet appearances and coordinated outfits to playful nods on social media. They weren't just acquaintances attending photo ops. They blended their lives together, with Blake's family spending time with Taylor and the media hailing them as a sisterhood, a rare A-list connection in a competitive industry. Yet if that friendship was genuine, how did it unravel so suddenly? For years, fans were treated to images of them side by side. Dazzling crowds in glamorous gowns one week, casual snapshots of cozy hangouts the next. Every move was in the public eye, so the fact that Blake was left out of Taylor's engagement came as a shock. Sources reveal that Blake only learned of the engagement when it became public, just like the rest of the world, raising immediate questions. If she was truly part of Taylor's inner circle, why was such a monumental moment kept from her? Insider chatter had long painted them as inseparable sisters, but perhaps that image was more myth than reality. Behind the carefully curated posts and interviews, subtle cracks were emerging. Observers noticed fewer appearances together, moments when one was present but not acknowledged by the other, small breadcrumbs that hinted at a shift. Looking back, it seems those signs were missed or perhaps ignored, and Blake was left blindsided. Her confusion and shock make it clear this wasn't an accident. The decision to exclude her was deliberate. Questions now swirl around what prompted Taylor to sever ties with a close confidant so abruptly. Whispers point to private messages exchanged away from cameras, conversations that may reveal the real nature of their relationship and expose the truth about loyalty, trust, and friendship behind the glitz. What seemed like a seamless Hollywood bond may have been a fragile facade, and now the details of those hidden communications might finally provide answers. Fans are left wondering, was the friendship ever as strong as it appeared, or was it always skin-deep, built for the cameras rather than genuine connection? Blake's experience shows just how personal and deliberate such decisions can be, leaving a spotlight not just on the engagement, but on the hidden dynamics that define celebrity friendships.
Taylor jointly posted photos of the proposal Instagram, multiple pics of them in a garden setting. Travis with down on one knee, your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. I mean, that's pretty accurate. There it is. The jewelry, the engagement ring is an old mine, brilliant cut. The jewelry designer is Kindred Lubeck that he picked up. Wow. Comments coming in. Me, Tarzan Eugene. That's mean. Hallelujah. Finally. Way to go. Look, I'm rooting for them. I know there's a lot of fatigue about this. I get it. But especially after watching that podcast, I feel like these two genuinely are a good match. They're super cute. Super cute together. She seems finally happy. She has a guy that's respecting her, that brings his own to the table. Overall, I got to say this is impressive. And man, it's giving me hiccups. That is a ring. Look at that ring. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is nice. She looks genuinely happy. I mean, how do you surprise someone with this many flowers? Was this after the fact? I want to hear more of the story. My gosh, now they have a whole nother podcast to explain the proposal and how that went down. And I'm sure that'll happen on New Heights. But man, he did not skimp on the flowers in this backyard jungle setting. That is gorgeous. I mean, late.
What if the real betrayal between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift wasn't public at all, but entirely private? Forget the red carpet smiles, the coordinated Instagram posts, and family-friendly appearances. The whispers now focus on something hidden, exchanged in the quietest moments, in text messages that insiders claim reveal a far different story than the polished Bond fans were shown. These weren't the playful, emoji-filled late-night chats you'd expect from best friends. They were sharper, colder, with an unexpected edge. While the surface friendship looked flawless, the private conversations suggest tension, frustration, and a growing distance. Alleged texts reveal small jabs and remarks that once could have been brushed off as playful, but in hindsight read as early signs of bitterness. Fans who idolized their connection were stunned by the suggestion that cracks had been forming long before anyone noticed publicly. Were these exchanges merely harmless banter between strong personalities, or private declarations of a friendship breaking down, disguised in sarcasm? Scrutiny of the texts changes perspective. What once felt casual now feels like a warning shot. A close source says one particular message stood out, not loud or dramatic, but heavy with meaning, hinting at letting go, boundaries being crossed, and no longer needing to play pretend. That single line carried more weight than 100 smiling selfies. Insiders believe it marked a shift from minor friction to the slow erosion of trust, signaling that the friendship had reached a breaking point. Rumors of these messages spread quickly online, prompting fans to comb through screenshots, search for hidden meanings in fragmented phrases, and dissect every detail. While none of the texts explicitly mentioned Taylor's engagement or Blake being excluded, the tone suggested long-standing disagreements previously masked for public appearances were finally surfacing. The pattern revealed a growing divergence in priorities, signaling that the relationship was no longer aligned. So, when the engagement occurred and Blake wasn't included, the pieces fell into place in a stark, almost brutal way. It wasn't oversight or forgetfulness. It was personal, deliberate, and calculated. Adding another layer, some believe the exposure of private tensions may not have originated solely from Blake or Taylor. Ryan Reynolds may have inadvertently revealed information that pulled the curtain back even further, intensifying speculation and forcing the public to confront just how private conflicts can quietly shape even the most public friendships.
Day after Blake Lively's birthday. Can you imagine if it had happened and she had announced it on Blake Lively's birthday? Oh my gosh. Taylor, I do think, was wise and made sure, someone on Taylor's team made sure that it wasn't that, because it would have created so much news about she snubbed it on her birthday. But as Blake was celebrating her birthday, she celebrated, do I have that one? Yeah, here it is. It was quiet time with the family as on her 38th birthday, amid the legal battle from exclusive sources at People. She's been having a great summer with Ryan and her 4 kids. She's focusing on her family, and it's been mostly about family time, having a great summer. So it sounds like not a lot of stress and trauma, like she keeps claiming in this legal doc. Lively's birthday comes after she's just announced in a new film, which, what are they thinking? The survivalist and action rom-com. I'm going to take a bet that that film's not going to do well. Just going to take a bet. I would not have betted on Blake Lively as my leading lady for an action rom-com, but we'll see. We'll see how that works. But again, she's still getting work. She's celebrating at home. She's living her best life. Apparently, all this smear campaign and retaliation hasn't really affected her, it seems. But anyway, she's been in there chilling, having her birthday plans. She's grateful for Ryan's support over the past year. She's been unwinding, blah, 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 with love and gratitude by many who stood by me. You know, she's just doing the same. So, but what is she really thinking? Let's get to some of these, I think, pretty solid rumors. Now, the biggest snub of recent is the report coming in that Taylor has officially removed her from the guest list of her upcoming birthday party. So this is where and Taylor Swift was not welcome to Blake Lively's party, is how Blake's trying to
What happens when a husband slips up in front of cameras? A single offhand remark can trigger a ripple effect, especially when that husband is Ryan Reynolds, known for his quick wit and unfiltered humor. His reputation as a fan favorite for sharp one-liners makes people wonder if, during an interview about Taylor Swift's big life moment, he revealed more than he intended. What came out didn't feel like a typical joke. It had the weight of a small truth sneaking past the punchline. Suddenly, the silence surrounding Blake's absence no longer felt quiet. Audiences are accustomed to Ryan tossing playful digs at anyone, including his own wife, on late-night shows and red carpets, so at first his words seemed routine. But attentive fans noticed a shift. This wasn't a throwaway gag. It had an edge, hinting at the elephant in the room without fully stating it. Some interpreted it as a joke laced with frustration, while others believed it was a subtle effort to defend Blake. Either way, it cracked open the polished narrative, fueling speculation that her exclusion was intentional. The timing only heightened the intrigue. Why joke about her absence during a celebration filled with congratulations unless it was already weighing on him? Though known for sarcasm, this time his remarks seemed protective, a coded message cloaked in humor. Was he shielding Blake with a subtle jab at Taylor, or was he escalating the tension further? That ambiguity created a charged undertone, and fans quickly lined up his words with what they already suspected. Meanwhile, at the event itself, Blake's absence was glaring. The so-called inner circle was packed with celebrities she had shared red carpets with for years, many who rarely appeared closer to Taylor than she did. Their presence inside the celebration while Blake was left out made Ryan's comment feel like confirmation of the whispers circulating online. The takeaway became clear. His words weren't random. They added weight to the theory that Blake wasn't merely overlooked, she had been deliberately frozen out. When the guest list surfaced, highlighting those who were included, the suspicion intensified, painting a picture of a planned exclusion rather than an accidental snub, and positioning Ryan's slip as a key clue that finally revealed cracks in the polished image Taylor had presented, leaving fans questioning the motives and the true dynamics behind the A-list celebration.
This idea that she's putting out there on these sites that she's removing her and she's fine with it. Are you buying this stuff? It hasn't been lost in Lively that her 30th birthday fell on Monday, the day before the big announcement. But that wasn't a concern for Lively, who certainly isn't sitting home obsessing about Taylor getting engaged because she's got her own life to focus on. My God. And notice Reynolds, Blake, nobody said anything. So if Taylor Swift fans were still wondering, oh, whose side should I be on? Clearly, Taylor is not happy with Blake. And that's a huge thing because Taylor is a massively big feminist, icon, supporter of victims, and she has absolutely stood her ground to not support this woman who absolutely used her. Blake used Taylor like crazy. It's shocking to me how many more people are still trying to side with Blake in this and not Taylor. Taylor is right. Taylor also is friends with Sabrina Carpenter, who worked with Justin Baldoni. Sabrina still follows Justin. You're telling me Sabrina and Taylor not supporting Blake doesn't tell you everything? Because it should. Why did Travis Kelce unfollow Ryan Reynolds?
The invites revealed everything, and Blake Lively's name was conspicuously absent. This wasn't a small, intimate dinner with a few close friends. Taylor Swift's engagement celebration was a high-profile, glittering event, the kind of exclusive gathering that dominated headlines even without a single photo being released. Sources described a night filled with music, opulent decor, and a guest list that left fans buzzing for days. But the story wasn't about who attended. It was about who didn't. At the center of that absence was Blake, missing from a milestone that had once seemed a certainty. The names that surfaced stunned fans. Top actors, chart-topping musicians, and Hollywood elites Taylor had only occasionally been photographed with. Normally, Blake would stand shoulder to shoulder with these same stars on red carpets, often taking center stage beside Taylor herself. Yet, when Taylor gathered her closest people for the engagement, Blake's spot had been quietly replaced by others, names no one expected to outrank her. The omission wasn't just surprising, it felt pointed. As social media pieced together the invite list, fans went into overdrive, comparing past event photos and noting that stars who rarely appeared in Taylor's orbit were suddenly front and center. Threads filled with disbelief highlighted how someone once portrayed as Taylor's chosen sister wasn't even in the room. The chatter was loud, public, and emotional, with followers asking directly why the person assumed to top the list wasn't there at all. That sense of betrayal cut even deeper because the friendship had long been painted as genuine. Blake wasn't just another colleague or casual acquaintance. Her family had been intertwined with Taylor's life, even inspiring song lyrics. So when names with far weaker ties appeared in her place, the omission felt deliberate, raising the obvious question: who replaced her and why? Some point to a recent online post by Blake, one that sparked debate and rubbed fans the wrong way. It seemed minor at the time, but now that post is being framed as the trigger that prompted Taylor to tighten her inner circle. Viewed alongside the guest list, the message appears unmistakable. Blake wasn't overlooked. She was intentionally swapped out. The origins of that decision may stretch further back than anyone realized, potentially tracing to a backstage incident at one of Taylor's concerts, suggesting that what seemed like an isolated moment of exclusion could in fact be part of a longer, calculated shift in dynamics between the two stars.
I thought this was Taylor removing Blake from her birthday, but wait, we're supposed to believe that Blake removed Taylor from her birthday party list? What? On what planet would Blake Lively have done that if Taylor had wanted to be there? When someone doesn't want to come to your birthday party, that doesn't mean you removed them from the list. It means you're saving embarrassment and now you're trying to blame them. Taylor's not invited. Oh my God, I read this wrong. So I guess this wasn't proof that Taylor's snubbing. It's proof that Blake is now turned against Taylor. So Taylor fans should be even more mad. Oh my gosh, I read that quickly because I have a lot of links up here and I thought it was the audacity of Blake Lively to say, I've removed Taylor from my invite list. Sorry. Hold it together. Be a journalist, Andy. Taylor has not been invited. A source close to the actor told the outlet. They were once inseparable, but after everything that's gone down, Blake wouldn't take her back now. Okay, sorry. For the unversed, Taylor Swift issued a subpoena for her trial, and then she obviously got mad about that because she has nothing to do with this. I firmly believe that. However, Swift has kept her head down, and Lively saw that as self-protection, but also as a betrayal. The report also mentioned that the actor is avoiding all distractions to focus on the important legal trial next year. She has Ryan, her kids, and the truth on her side. The individual added, she's not wasting time chasing people who weren't there when it mattered. Talking about Swift and Lively's hopeful reunion, another insider noted, that ship has sailed. Blake's closed the door and locked it. Oh my God. I almost don't believe this. I mean, I can from a public standpoint. She wants to put this out there and be all defensive. But this idea she has any choice in the matter, it's just very funny to me. I think it's pretty clear Taylor's the one who shut the door and locked it and then put a bolt, locked it 10 times, maybe put a little alarm system on it, the whole 9 yards. I think it's Taylor's doing, not Blake's. That's just my opinion. Anyway, Lively also didn't congratulate Swift on her engagement. Blake didn't reach out the following engagement announcement and isn't going to. The outlet mentioned how the actor doesn't talk about Taylor at all and isn't thinking about their crippled friendship. Sorry, this is hard to read with a straight face. I'm sure she's not thinking about all the Taylor stuff that's now out of her life, how that's going to affect her kids, Taylor's her godmother, and I'm sure her kids worship Taylor Swift. Why isn't Auntie Taylor coming? I'm sure none of that's affecting Blake at all. Yeah.
The tension between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift may have started long before the engagement headlines, with insiders whispering that the first real crack appeared not at a party or online, but backstage at one of Taylor's concerts, a setting few will ever experience, marked by intense pressure, strict schedules, and a level of exclusivity where every move is noticed. Backstage access places guests in the middle of chaos disguised as celebration. Fans line the halls, security tightens every doorway, and everyone is expected to know their place in Taylor's carefully orchestrated world. Blake wasn't just another face in the room. She was a recognized figure with a personal bond to the star of the night. But rumors suggest that during that event, something happened. A misstep that rubbed Taylor the wrong way, perhaps Blake speaking out of turn while cameras were rolling or interfering in ways Taylor didn't welcome. Whispers call it disrespectful, something Taylor couldn't ignore, even from someone she once trusted deeply. It may sound shocking to think that a single backstage moment could shift the balance of an entire friendship, yet in Taylor's world, control is paramount. Her brand, her performances, and her inner circle are meticulously managed, and any disruption from someone she trusted would leave a lasting impression. Fans believe Taylor didn't simply brush it off. She remembered quietly, patiently, letting that memory inform her choices when the engagement arrived. Could one incident truly undo years of laughter, vacations, and family moments, or was it merely the spark igniting deeper, long-simmering tensions both women had held back? Fans piecing together the timeline see it less as coincidence and more as foresight, a calculated boundary being drawn. Meanwhile, Blake's team has worked to soften the narrative publicly, with publicists offering easy explanations and attempting to downplay her absence as accidental. Yet for fans, the energy feels different, as if that night backstage marked a turning point where friendship and loyalty fractured, and if that clash was just the beginning, it raises questions about what else happened behind closed doors that remains unseen. Blake's exclusion now reads less like an oversight and more like a carefully mapped choice, as if Taylor had been building toward this moment for years. The combination of backstage rumors, text exchanges, and even Ryan Reynolds' offhand comments makes the engagement snub feel intentional rather than accidental. The bigger question emerges. If two stars long marketed as inseparable can fracture this way, what does it say about the nature of friendship under fame? Was loyalty ever genuine? Or was it just another performance shaped for the cameras? Fans are left asking whether a bond that once seemed unshakable could unravel from a single misstep, or whether it was the culmination of a pattern of control, distance, and calculated decisions that had been quietly forming all along, leaving Blake caught on the outside.